Hello and welcome to today's video where we'll be discussing the reasons behind the fall of the tech giant Nokia, which was once a dominant player in the mobile phone industry. Nokia's decline and ultimate failure as a company is a fascinating case study in business strategy and management. So let's dive right in. If you could go back in time and conduct a mobile phone survey in the early 2000s, you would find some shocking results. A few decades ago, a business that is now competing for barely 1% of the smartphone market was practically associated with the term mobile phones. Nokia really was that large. Many people, especially those who were born in the 1990s, had Nokia phones as their first phones. Within a decade, it rose to become the best-selling brand and a household name. By creating many models with a range of pricing, it appealed to all social classes. Founded in 1865 by Fredrik Idstrom, Leo Meckelin, and Edward Poland, Nokia is a Finnish corporation that specializes in communications, consumer electronics, and information technology. Nokia's mobile phones, which dominated the market until the development of the smartphone, are possibly its most well-known product. Not only were Nokia products built to last with long battery life, they were also known for their durability. From a pulp mill to a telecom giant, Nokia climbed the ladder of success like no other mobile company. The Nokia 1011 was the first GSM phone ever released by Nokia in 1992. The business surpassed Motorola in 1998 to take the top spot for selling mobile phones. The winning streak was still going strong, though. The biggest market share in the globe at its height, 49.4%, was held by Nokia in 2007. To this day, no corporation has been able to attain such heights of success because it understood the mobile sector the best. Behind the scenes, though, something else was cooking. Long before 2007, the downfall of Nokia had already begun. The top management was where it all began, and like dominoes, one by one, everything fell. Sales of Nokia decreased after more than a decade of dominance in the mobile market. Both internal and external factors had an impact on it. Nokia's demise was caused by a variety of factors. Here are a few of the most critical ones. Number 10. Partnership with Microsoft. A partnership with Microsoft was announced by Nokia in 2011. They intended to produce Windows smartphones, but there weren't enough apps in the Windows Store for them to be successful on the market. When Nokia was on the verge of bankruptcy, Microsoft paid $7.2 billion to acquire the mobile devices division. Number 9. Lackluster decision-making. Nokia's failure can also be attributed to poor leadership and management decisions. The senior management's decision-making process was excessively slow. Former vice president and head designer Frank Nuovo departed the business in 2006. He said that the management took a long time to decide urgent matters. The company's top executives failed to recognize the significance of the smartphone revolution and were slow to react to the changes in the industry. Additionally, Nokia's management structure was bureaucratic and stubborn, making it difficult for the company to innovate and adapt quickly. As a result, several possible solutions and opportunities were lost, which eventually resulted in companies shutting down. Number 8. Failed to switch to Android. Another contributing factor to Nokia's decline was its reliance on its outdated Symbian operating system. While competitors were introducing newer and more user-friendly operating systems, Nokia stuck with Symbian, which eventually became obsolete. This left the company struggling to keep up with competitors who had better operating systems and a more intuitive user experience. Nokia had the chance to work with Google to produce Android phones, but it declined to do so. Because it was easy to use, quick, and have a large selection of applications in its App Store, Android OS quickly became very popular. Nokia's narrative would have been different if they had migrated to Android sooner. Number 7. Internal conflicts. Alastair Curtis, Nokia's top designer from 2006 to 2009, claimed they were spending more time fighting politics than doing design. The company's several divisions were not adequately collaborating with one another. Internal rivalry in the top management were one of the additional problems brought on by this lack of cooperation. These issues didn't directly affect Nokia, but they did contribute to its demise. Also, any company can stay on track if its senior management is steady. Nokia, however, saw 2 CEO replacements during the course of 5 years. Thus, this was not the case. The workforce was unable to adapt to the aims and aspirations of the new CEO because of the frequent changes. Both the stakeholders and the employees were unhappy as a result. Number 6. Failed to compete in the smartphone market. Nokia was still firmly focused on developing conventional phones, while firms like Samsung, Apple, and HTC were producing software-driven phones. By introducing the N97 with the new Symbian OS, it did attempt to compete, but it was too late because Apple and Android phones were already well established. Number 5. Change organization structure. Nokia switched to a matrix-style organization. It was a swift change that was made to increase agility. Many stakeholders were angry and top management members left the business. The individuals who contributed to Nokia's success were no longer employed by the business. This is one of the factors that contributed to the company's impact from internal working. Number 4. Overconfidence. No one can crush you like your overconfidence can. Prior to something going wrong, Nokia's senior executives believed that nothing could ever go wrong. Nokia ignored emerging businesses that had innovative concepts and technologies. Nobody was their rival in their eyes. Nokia failed because of its arrogance and stupidity. Number 3. Failed to reposition itself. Be it Baskin-Robbins or Starbucks, all of them had to reposition themselves to stay relevant in the market and in the mind of a consumer. The same thing was needed to be done by Nokia. They should have done some market research and adjusted its positioning. Nokia's failure was its lack of effective marketing and brand strategy. While Apple and Samsung invested heavily in marketing and advertising, Nokia failed to communicate its value proposition to consumers. The company also struggled to create a clear and consistent brand image, which resulted in a lack of brand loyalty among consumers. Number 2. Failed to innovate. The first firm to provide 3G phones, camera phones, and many other cutting-edge technology was Nokia. In the early 2000s, it was aware that innovation was the only way to advance technology and remain relevant. However, as demand for their phones increased, their attention turned to manufacturing to meet that demand. Due to its emphasis on mass manufacturing rather than innovation, businesses like Samsung, Apple, HTC, and others began to acquire some market share with their cutting-edge and user-friendly operating systems. Number 1. Failed to adapt. Nokia refused to change their practices and didn't adjust to the new environment, even though they were aware that there was a greater need for software than hardware. The public had already switched to Android and Apple's phones by the time Nokia finally realized their error. Even if it is no longer as relevant as it once was, Nokia still exists. Even if its glory days are long gone, it is still working to reclaim them by not making the same mistakes again. After selling its mobile phone sector in 2014, Nokia shifted its attention to network infrastructure through Nokia Networks. More than 150 countries are served by Nokia Networks, which also offers professional services to operators and service providers, as well as platforms for communications and network services. In terms of global telecom infrastructure, Nokia was ranked 5th in 2018 and is quickly advancing to the top. Nokia's lack of innovation did not result in bankruptcy or acquisition, in contrast to many other businesses. Nokia seems to have stopped making mobile phones today. The business HND Global, which was created by former Nokia workers and launched a range of smartphones in 2017, now owns the Nokia name. In addition to continuing to produce hardware, the company is also working to bring out the 5G wireless network. In addition, it makes a sizable profit from the hundreds of patents it has licensed to manufacturers of mobile phones. In conclusion, Nokia's failure as a company can be attributed to a combination of factors, including its inability to keep up with the fast-paced smartphone market, reliance on outdated technology, lack of effective marketing and branding, and poor leadership and management decisions. While Nokia's downfall is a cautionary tale for businesses, it also serves as a reminder that adaptation, innovation, and effective leadership are key to success in today's fast-paced and ever-changing business landscape. Thanks for watching today's video, and we hope you found it informative. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such content.